Yo, what's up with y'all, man? I hope you're doing good. If you're new and you're a fan of the NBA, subscribe to this channel. So let's get straight into it.
It's like it's Minute Maid, hijack 4, renegade, 24, number 8, Kobe shit fade away. Ballin' since 11th grade, still in school, let them hate.
With the NBA season resuming, that means that the NBA draft will be approaching us once again. The official day is October 16th. That is still a very long time from now, or at least it feels like it. So since the last 2020 NBA draft video that I made, which happened to be on May 6th, a few things have changed for me. That was a minute ago. My personal opinions and outlooks on some of these prospects have changed specifically. These lottery teams who've been pretty much left out of Orlando and kicked to the curb haven't just been sitting around. That's right, I can recline my chair now. But they haven't been just sitting around just waiting for time to pass by. I can assure you that they've been taking an even deeper look into each and every single prospect. It's been over 140 days without basketball, and those 140 days have been put to use. Scouts have been able to evaluate them at an entirely new level. This is a large amount of time given that scouts haven't had before. And because of that, the value of several prospects has moved. They either moved up, or down, or remain stagnant. Kinda like the stock market, things are constantly changing. So what we're about to do is see how much my outlook has changed when it comes to the 2020 NBA draft. This is basically my 2020 NBA draft stopwatch. I'm sorry, I kinda forgot, if you could do me a favor real quick, I'd really appreciate it if you go ahead and subscribe to the new podcast channel that I do with Rusty Buckets. Content-wise, it's different from the Hoopscast channel that you've seen from the past. We're actually talking about real-life situations in our day-to-day lives. Go ahead and do that. I'd highly recommend it. It only takes 2 seconds. Denny Dia, the 6'9" forward, was always an interesting player. He's pretty mobile and clearly prefers to play fast. Going up and down the court, dropping off passes and cutting to the rim. That's him, He's a for sure lottery pick, but just a few months ago, I personally wasn't too high on him and didn't believe that teams were going to invest that much into Denny, simply because of his shooting woes. That's literally the only thing that's scaring me and holding me back from investing all my stock into Denny Dia. But recently, the Israel Basketball League just started hooping again. And since they've been back, this man Denny has been snapping. Dude's been putting up the best set of numbers in his career consecutively, and he looks like he's by far the best player on the court at all times. He's doing things right now that scouts are salivating over, running the offense and being quick to make up his mind with what he wants to do with the ball. He's not shying away from carrying the load and being the quote-unquote guy that nobody comes before on his team. What's been a big driving force for his stock, just seeing a major jump in my mind, is his three-point shooting. In the making of this video, he's been shooting 2 for 3, 2 for 5, 3 for 7, 3 for 6, and 4 for 8 from the three-point line. That is literally jaw-dropping for someone who isn't a reliable free throw shooter. I ain't gonna lie, man, Denny Dia is over here playing with my feelings. If his shot was consistent and trustworthy in all areas of basketball, and if he was over here taking shots off the dribble at least semi-consistently, he would be a lock to be a top 3 pick. There is no discussion. It would be impossible for you to debate someone like me because I'm not even having that conversation in the first place. But because that is a real question, the door is it's pretty wide open for any prospect to come before him. The door may start to be closing though because of his great late performance. Teams are out here probably catching erections.
Hey, yo, whoa.
Because he's shown shades of what Ben Simmons could look like if he had at least a catch and shoot jumper. Those are the vibes that I personally get when I watch Denny play, and because of that, his stock is shooting up out the roof. Now be aware, Denny has a major upper hand over every single prospect in the draft right now. Recency bias is a mother effer. Man has literally been the only top prospect who's been hooping for everyone to watch. And he's pretty much out here showboating, showcasing his talents. He has a spotlight that literally no one has right now. And he's on a lot more GM's radar as we speak, and he's being taken a lot more serious. That size, that speed, that vision, and catch and shoot ability is what's trending right now in the league. Because of that, his stock has been shooting up as of late. I just mentioned the word speed. Did I do that on purpose? Maybe. I don't really know, but that is a perfect transition to one of the next prospects that I'm about to talk about. Kira Lewis Jr. When he goes for the blow-by, it's pretty much a wrap already. There's almost no such thing as recovery when it comes to him because of how light, quick, and how much of a burst of speed that he has. 6'3" PG isn't as known because of how popular the other guards are in his class. Guys like LaMelo, Cole Anthony, Tyrese Halliburton, and RJ Hampton have completely overshadowed his name. But I wouldn't be too surprised at all if he ends up being the better pro than at least half of the people that I just named. He's a menace out there on the court. He sniffs out when an opponent just simply cannot hold him. Outside of his speed, some other pretty handy skills that he has is his defense and shooting ability. Kara's weaknesses though is what may limit his potential in the league. I wouldn't say that he's an elite offensive talent, but he's definitely a very useful one. With the way the game is being played right now, I believe there's some team out there willing to invest way more into him than others. Why, you may ask? Well, that's just simply because they don't see the potential in this man. He's literally drawing comparisons from some of the top young guards in the NBA, and for some reason, people are just still sleeping on his name, but that'll change soon. Really soon, I might add, because his stock is on the uprise. A couple months ago, I made this very video right here, and as you can see, it features Jaden McDaniels. Jaden, just a year ago, was pretty much seen as a lock to be a lottery pick in this year's draft. The hype was pretty real. Almost every other week, I see this man on my IG timeline doing some poor high school student who just got out of calculus class pretty dirty on the court. So you guys know how the next KD term gets slung around all over the place. And yeah, Jaden McDaniels pretty much got struck with that term as well. Why? Well, I don't know. I just never saw him myself. He's nice, but I never saw it. And I think that we sling that term around just way too often. In order to get those two words attached to your name, all you literally have to be is 6'9". You gotta be tall, you gotta be skinny, and you have to be able to shoot the ball and have some type of nice crossover. That's what you have to be in order to get this type of treatment from all the casual fans, I'd say. It's wrong and it shouldn't be like that, but casual fans are gonna do what casual fans do best. And that's making people like Jaden McDaniels look like damn near pretty much already a complete failure, which he isn't. Can you imagine going from being one of the faces of this draft class to then being viewed as a top 10 pick, then to the end of the lottery, and now towards the very end of the first round of the draft? That's pain. That is not good, and his college numbers aren't encouraging whatsoever. Because of that and his accusations of being compliant, that might scare off a lot of teams alone. It just feels like as the days go by, I just see Jaden McDaniels' name drop lower and lower and lower in most mock drafts, and he's not even in most people's minds anymore. So for that reason, I have this stock plummeting. Aleski Pelosi. Yeah, I'm not doing this. But that tall and very looking odd dude right there is a pretty interesting prospect. Now he's only 18 years old, but he has a heightened skill set that scouts fiend for. He's an abnormally 7-footer who legit moves like a 2-guard. His fluidity and feel for the game is a rarity. Now the 7-footer is very comfortable with the ball and will be perfectly suited as a secondary ball handler. Now the thing about this man over here with the very tough name to pronounce is that he looks raw, very raw. He's a project, and not one of the projects that these teachers be giving you a week or maybe a month to complete. No, he's one of the projects that teachers let you know from the first day of school to the end of class. He's one of them big long-term projects. I need to find a nickname for this man because that last name is atrocious and I cannot pronounce it. So what we're gonna call him is Mr. P. Now Mr. P is not the type to leave you wondering why he was taken so late in the first round in his rookie year or even his second or third year in the league. That's not the case with him. He'd leave you wondering why he was taken so late in the first place maybe 4 years from now. That's when I believe he'd have a fully developed body and he'd be ready to go in the league. Now I do not see this man being a star, an all-star, even a potential all-star. In my opinion, he's an ultra positive role player who's a difference maker. And in the draft, it's hella hard to make these type of picks. Most picks made this late in the draft are wild misses, but this is just one of those rare instances where you could actually make a hit. Mr. P-Man's stock is on a continuous climb. Grant Riller, his ability to socially distance himself on the court against any defense is special. Most mocks have him going in the second round, but I personally believe that he is not a second round talent. And I think that teams will learn their lessons from years past. I say that because Grant Riller is an older prospect compared to his other peers. He's 23 years old. Now I'm not saying that he should be taken in the lottery, no. I wouldn't do that. But would I take him in the first round? Of course, yes. Who wouldn't? His stock should be on the rise. I can see this man being a first round pick, but not a first round pick just for any team. He's a first round pick for seasoned teams. Teams that have experience or are trying to win right now or at least in the next 2 to 3 years. Not the rebuilding teams. For instance, teams like Milwaukee, Toronto, the Celtics, Utah, and especially the 76ers. They could and should be the ones feeding for this explosive bucket getter. Hopefully teams learn that lesson from years past. Guys like Malcolm Brogdon, Matisse Thybulle, and the new and great Brandon Clark were passed up on because they were just old. Grant Riller is in a stupid similar situation like the rest of them. And also, I just noticed that all those guys that I just mentioned were light-skinned. Anyways, his stock is on the rise. This is the end of the video though, man. I really do appreciate you for coming over here on my channel and seeing what I have to talk about today. That is, as always, extremely dope of you to do. So if you're new here and if you didn't subscribe already, go ahead and hit that sub button and also turn on those Mojofications so you know when I upload. And also before I leave, I want you to do one of these two things. First off, actually one of these several things. My bad. Go ahead and subscribe to the new podcast channel that I'm doing with Rusty Buckets. It's a complete vibe. And also, I want you to go ahead and make sure that you leave a like, comment, let me know what you think. Share this video and also make sure that you make your day great. But until then, I'll get right with you.
No way, remember back when I couldn't get a play, no home, I ain't have a place to stay, I got to work, made it serve, free the way, Told my girl who'd ever thought.